Hey guys, welcome to the arcade. Thanks very much for joining me today, and today we are going to look at the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet from Arcade 1-Up. Now this is a cabinet that many of us thought we would never see, not given the bad relationship that Marvel and Capcom ended on. But Arcade 1-Up were able to produce this cabinet, so let's dive in and take a good look at it. I'm going to start off first with the construction. Now, as I've said in a previous video, I did find the construction of this cabinet a little more complicated than the ones previous. There are a few additional panels that surround the control panel. There's a few extra panels that add a little bit of height to it. So maybe that played into it a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. It has been nearly a year since I built my last cabinet, so it may just be a bit of rust on my part as well. The construction felt good. The wooden panels, especially the side panels, felt a little heavier or thicker. I was very happy with that. The surrounding panels for the control panel felt like a nice little touch. And a couple of additional strengthening or support struts within it were also a nice little addition as well. Overall, I think the cabinet was put together very well. I'm very happy with it. The artwork on the side I think is absolutely gorgeous. Now, I know a lot of people have said that the artwork on this cabinet isn't arcade accurate, and that's perfectly fair. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 didn't have a dedicated Western style cabinet as you would see here. It was mostly within candycades or conversions. So I think what they've done, what they've cobbled together from the various console releases and artwork that were put onto manuals and CD covers and things like that, have worked really well. I'm very impressed with it. I think the artwork is of fine quality, and I love that the extender panels line up perfectly with the rest of the artwork. There's no little juts or anything like that or jagged edges. It flows really well. The riser itself is gorgeous. It's just plain with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 logo on the front of it. I'm very pleased with that. I wouldn't want anything else on that riser. I think that's just perfect the way it was. A nice little addition that Arcade 1-Up have included in this cabinet is the Ethernet port. So whereas most cabinets would have the Wi-Fi adapter, which is really good, the Wi-Fi out where I am is pretty poor. So having the ability to install an Ethernet cable straight into the back of this cabinet is fantastic, and I really appreciated that. Just trying to play online out here didn't really go too well, but once I got the Ethernet cable plugged in, everything was grand. Onto the control panel. Now I do like the new controls, or the new sticks at least, that they've included on this cabinet. The new sticks definitely seem to be able to take what I can give it. I'm not very gentle with them, to be honest, when I'm trying to spam moves, so it's definitely putting up to what I can give it, so I really do like that. The buttons are the standard quality as you've come to expect from Arcade 1-Up. Take them or leave them, they're easy enough upgraded if you choose to. The marquee I really do like. It's lovely and bright. I know people have said that the artwork on it is pixelated, and yes it is. If you go close enough in, you can start to see that it's a low quality print. However, I don't feel that you're looking at it for an extended period of time, so it's not something that bothers me. I'm perfectly happy leaving it as it is. There's no dark or bright spots on the marquee. The light distribution on there is brilliant. I'm very happy with that. The color scheme on the control panel itself, this granite or concrete look, I'm not a fan of. I wanted to get vinyl before the cabinet arrived and then wrap the outer panels in it. However, the vinyl was out of stock and I just went ahead and built it. Will I do it after the point? I don't think so. I'm just going to live with it, I guess. Moving on, let's take a look at the main menu UI. Now this is the first time I've used one of the newer style of internal menus for navigating the games, and at first I wasn't 100% sure what I was highlighting, but it was fairly simple to get the hang of scrolling through the games and things like that. There are a few quirks that I don't like with it, but overall it's fairly good. Bar the 2 SNES games that came with the cabinet, each of the other games on here have their own game settings menu, so you can go in, you can change the difficulty, you can change the damage level, the timer, and if you so choose you can also go down and add scan lines. Now, I am not a big fan of scan lines in these arcade machines. Some people like to have the more vintage look. For me, I'm quite happy with the pixel perfect, so I just leave them off. Over in the top right of the control panel there is the live button, which will take you into the network management. This will allow you to choose between the Wi-Fi or wired connection. You can restore the factory defaults if you want to go right back to the beginning, and you also have a few menu settings in there as well as the ability to check for updates. So if an update comes out and you think you've missed it, you can check in there just to make sure you're up to date. This is the first cabinet I've had that has been Wi-Fi or online enabled, and honestly getting into a game was so simple. Once I was on the online menu, I was able to find a room that only had one person into it. I opened the challenge and it jumped you straight into the character select, where I was able to pick my team. Now at this stage only Marvel vs. Capcom 2 doesn't have online at the so it's just the other fighting games that have the online. So I'm mostly within the Marvel vs. Capcom, the original one. I tried my best. Unfortunately, I'm just that out of practice that I was completely bested here. But I really enjoyed it. The experience was very good, and I'm happy with how it was performing online. I didn't see any slowdown, any input lag. But then again, I'm not a competitive player, I'm just a casual. Now, so far the review has been mostly positive, and that's the way I feel when I think about this particular cabinet. Mostly positive. There are, however, a few negatives that I would like to touch on. The first of which is the sound. Now, I know I'm kind of going back on myself because I said in a recent video that I was very, very happy with the sound. I am. However, there's a few quirks, or 2 quirks rather, that I have discovered with it. First is inconsistency. So the volume on the menu, the main game select menu, is very, very high. However, when you go into the game, it then becomes quite low and you have to adjust the volume slider up. It's a bit of a hassle. I don't really like doing that. I would have preferred that they had them more in sync so I don't have to mess around after selecting a game to get it to the same level of volume that I was already at when I was in the main menu. The other one was a bit of a glitch. It's happened a couple of times to me in game where while I'm playing the volume has adjusted itself. I can't really get it to recreate effectively. It's happened a couple of times. It's been quite annoying. I've just been able to reach over and sort of correct it. It hasn't happened recently, and I think it may have been in the recent update that they have fixed it. Now I will keep my eye on that, but it's definitely something that I'm not happy with. I don't like distractions, especially when you're in the middle of an online game. You don't want to be messing around with the particular with the volume slider. The other thing that I've noticed, and again I don't really have an accurate way of recreating this, is when I'm starting the console sometimes it gets stuck in its boot up sequence, so it'll just come up on screen loading and won't move on to the arcade 1-up splash screen and load into the main menu. It seems to be that when I power the cabinet on from the wall, so the main socket, and then immediately turn on the cabinet, that it gets stuck in that. If I was to power on at the wall and leave the cabinet for about 30 seconds, then power up, everything seems fine. Now, there's a bit of a workaround for it, so I'm quite happy with that at the moment, but it is something that I'm going to keep my eye on in case it does start to get worse. Those are the only real things I can think of to say in a negative. The two games that were included to sort of take Punisher's place, the two SNES games, they're an alright addition, I would say. I'll probably play them to completion once and then I probably won't touch them again. So it's nice that they were able to do something to replace Punisher. However, it doesn't really add too much replayability, whereas the Punisher was a very, very good side-scrolling beat-em-up game. But the decision to not include Punisher was totally out of their hands, so I understand that. What I'd like to do now is just run you through some gameplay from each of the 8 games that are on this cabinet. So I'll shut up for a bit, we'll play some of the footage from these games, and then at the end we'll come back just for a quick recap.
Capcom 2. Spider senses tingling. Battle for survival begins. Engage. Maximum spider. Come on, hey, come on! Venom Showtime! Ready! Fight! Come on! Wonderful! Venom. Give up, spoil sport. Showtime. Ready. Fight.
Says tingle. Showtime.
Ready. Fight! Ready. Fight!
Here you go.
Oh, that sucked. What am I doing up here?
Here you go. Good night, sugar.
Win! initiated.
So there we have it. There is my review of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. As I've mentioned, I'm very happy with the cabinet as it is. I'm really enjoying the games. I'm having a lot of fun online. I think it's a great addition to the arcade. It looks fantastic. I am very happy with the entire experience. Hopefully we will get online for Marvel vs. Capcom 2 soon. That is a bit of a sticking point, and I really understand it from people who expect to get what they were told they were buying. If you walked into the shop, saw it on the shelf and said Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you can play it online, took it home, built it up, it's not online. I completely understand that. I do believe we will get it, but when it's going to happen, I just do not know. I really hope it is as good as the original Marvel vs. Capcom online experience. I really hope so. But we don't know what it's going to look like yet. We don't know if it's going to have spectator mode. We don't know if it's going to be slowed down. None of these questions have been answered, and that is a big failing on Arcade 1-Up, that they have not communicated anything to us about the state of play. But that's their infrastructure side of things. That's not to take away anything from this cabinet. I think it is fantastic. If it was just a plain offline cabinet, I would be very, very happy with how it plays. I am very happy with how it plays. But these are all just my opinions. They don't count for anything. I hope it's maybe shed some light onto some of the questions maybe you were asking yourself if you were considering this cabinet. If you do have any other questions or anything else you would like to know about this cabinet, please reach out in the comments. I will do my best to answer them for you. I hope you have found this review useful, and I will see you again very soon. Take her easy. Bye for now.